A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mavani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 28th April 2020. The day is Tuesday. I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling is the writer of Harry Potter. She says, "It is impossible to live without failing at something, unless you live so cautiously that you might as well not have lived at all, in which case you fail by default." This quote has inspired me for a very long period of time, and I think I came across this quote some 8-9 years ago. And since then, this quote has been one of my favorite because I genuinely believe that failure is something that is part of our life. We cannot ignore it. And I think ignoring failure is not taking risk. Ignoring failure is not giving yourself the chance to take that road that is that untraveled road or uncharted road. You need sometimes, right, or I think most of the time, when we are stuck with our day to day, or when we get used to with something, we used to with doing things that we do normally, that kills our creativity. So sometimes you have to step out of that boundary. Sometimes you have to think out of the box, and when you think out of the box, right, you will fail, and this is something very common. But if you keep on trying, then you will succeed. So that's the main core message here, right? That we should not resist failure. We should accept it, learn from it, and then move on. With this, dear friends, I would like to introduce all of you to our smart course. StudyIQ has launched a smart course on our mobile application. This is particularly for Civil Services Examination. It covers both your pre and mains examination. As you can see on your screen, some of the best faculties of our country, they have designed this smart course, and EMI option is also available. To find out more about it, all you have to do is download our application on your Android phone. To download the PDF of today's lecture, do check out my Telegram channel. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion, and don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So dear friends, today we are going to talk about 4 important items. 3 of them are connected with each other. First one is going to be this one. This article is by N.K. Narayan. He was a former National Security Advisor of our country. He has also been Governor of West Bengal State, and he is talking about global order, a new world that we will see after coronavirus pandemic. Then we have one article by former Foreign Secretary of our country, and she is also talking about a post-pandemic world. So these two are connected. And the third one, to take a break from this common topic, we will talk about this one, virtual yet open. This one is about courts, right? Virtual courts. Again, very easy to understand articles. We can clearly see some positive points of having digital courts. There are a few security point of view issues as well, but overall things are going to be good for a country like India. And the third one is, the fourth one is the same topic that is like connected with each other. In that sense, third article, it's about a policy roadmap to tackle COVID-19. But before we jump on to this articles, I have a question for you. Name the country or countries sharing land borders or border with Lebanon. Lebanon is a country, of course. So now you have to find it. If you don't know where exactly it is, then this is a good opportunity for you guys to open your atlas or map book and then go through it, right? Locate this Lebanon and then observe it with a magnifying glass, and then you will be able to find it. And this whole process, you will come across so many other countries as well. So I think you should spend at least 5-10 minutes after this map. Right, so dear friends, take your time. Let's first discuss all these articles, and then you can post your answers. There is no rush for posting your answers. This one, Lebanon question. The script of disruption and a new order. N.K. Narayan starts this article by this interesting line that abnormal could well become. I don't know why I'm making this many mistakes. Okay, I'll try again. Abnormal could well become the new normal. And at present, we are living in an abnormal world, isn't it? Staying indoors for such a long time, lockdown, empty streets, right? This sort of things are quite abnormal for us, but I think it is normal for animals and those creatures living in water like fish and other living organisms. For them, it is a very normal world. Things are more quiet, and we don't have that sound pollution going on. Air pollution is nearly nil, right? So new carbon emission is not taking place, which is, if you ignore this economical world, the so-called economical world, right, where we are just focused on one thing about our own wealth generation and economic development, rather than, or economic growth rather than development. I would use the word growth here, that we are just concerned with figures, with quantity. From that world point of view, right, things are not great. But if you look at it from environment point of view, then things are, this is how it should be. But still, overall, it is abnormal because we have never lived this sort of life so far. Pandemics have often changed the world and reshaped a human society. I have one example of Surat city. You have a city of Surat in Gujarat. So I still remember, this is a practical observation, right? I think it's been some 20, 25 years, 20, maybe 20 years, right? Somewhere around 20 years, 2 decades ago. There was a plague outbreak in Surat. So Surat, before that plague outbreak, and one of the reason why there was this plague outbreak was too many rats, and too many rats means too much of filth in your city. So Surat was a filthy city 2 decades ago. But after this sort of this plague outbreak, things changed for good in Surat. I still remember those visuals. 2 decades ago, I saw streets were being cleaned, right? And this was something very strange for me, and I believe it is very strange for 2 decades ago. It was a very strange thing, very interesting thing for any Indian city. So Surat became a very clean city. I think after Chandigarh, nowadays you have Indore and other cities are clean, but for a very long period of time, Chandigarh has been number one, and then Surat was number two for a very long period of time as far as cleanliness is concerned. So this is just one small example that pandemics have often changed the world and reshaped a human society. And this is going to happen with the whole world now, because coronavirus has affected directly, indirectly, each and every single country on our planet. Commentators are already talking of fundamental alterations in governance and business norms. Things are going to change as far as governance is concerned. I think we will ask for more responsive, more flexible, more responsible government as far as businesses are concerned, right? I think that now we know that money is not the only thing that is important in our life. If a business is producing too much of carbon dioxide, if a business is producing pollutant elements that is destroying our land, water bodies and other things, then I think we will not buy things from those businesses, right? We will see a little bit of change. I hope that we see a big change, but if there is even if the wheel comes in motion, even if the pace is not that much, even that's fine, right? Even if things are moving slowly, but if it is moving in right direction, then hopefully we will get a speed. Once this whole awareness will reach a tipping point, after that we will see a blast in awareness and in people's action. And I think we should make our world a bit more a more better place to live, not just for human beings, for each and every organism on this world. How pandemic will impact human values and conduct, that's a big question, right? I think once everything gets over, then if you look at it from positive point of view, then we will become a bit more caring, bit more cooperative. But there can be some negative things as well, because economic growth, right, is going to be in negative. We have seen some real face of UN, UNSC, WHO, right? They have clearly failed in cooperating or in acting as a global institutions. I think one of the main problem with these institutions that they were designed in late 40s, 1940s, and we are still using the same format in 2020. And this is the biggest thing, right? We clearly need reform in UNSC. We have seen that countries like China, Russia, USA, UK, France, all of them have misused the veto power they have. why their lives are more important, why their opinion is more important compared to an opinion from a small tiny island nation called Kiribati, or some other small tiny like Mauritius and other island nations. They have been, saying this thing for a very long period of time, that your industrial development is threatening our lives, right? But this countries, and there are other countries as well, they are not listening to this sort of countries, because these countries are small island nations. So this clearly indicates that we are giving more. So far, we have given more importance to quantitative things, but I think this will change, because UNSC clearly failed in acting, taking a stand on time. WHO is blamed for being biased. As far as World Bank is concerned, the biggest threat that I see is negative economic front. And so far, we are so used to with good numbers, right? We expect good numbers. If numbers are going down, then this will, before it will hit us, psychological, before it will hit us practically, we will feel a sort of psychological stress in our society. Unfortunately, things are going to be in negative as far as world growth is concerned. Back in 2007, 8, 9, due to that recession, the global growth was in minus 0.1%, right? Global growth during last, like in 2007 recession, it was minus 0.1%. So that was also too big to handle. So this time it's going to be minus 3%. So it's going to be more severe. So we have to prepare ourselves for it. Millions of people, crores of people, they are going to lose their jobs. And one thing that is not mentioned here, but I would like to add here, is that it has been observed that when you find that more people, when they are losing their source of income, I'm not saying everyone, but crime rates will go up as well. Out of desperation, people may snatch things from other people. They may, do a bit of robbery and things because of this hunger and desperation. So we may see a bit of anarchy as well. I'm not saying just in India or throughout our India. In some parts of our country, maybe, or in some parts of the world, we may see some sort of anarchy. Then we have this new thing that the government will keep an eye on an omnipotent state. That means government will be there everywhere. Like if you want to step out of your house, you will have to take permission. Though that liberty that we used to enjoy, I think that may come into, restrictions may apply on our liberty. A few days ago, we were talking about this China. Remember that they have this application and you can get permission to go out from, in some parts of China, they are doing this thing. So this may become a new normal. Europe has shown a willingness to sacrifice personal liberties. Now remember, if you go back in the history of Europe, this nationalism and personal liberty and all those things, they have the strong root in this European continent. And it's unfortunate that we are in such a time that Europe has shown, or it is so desperate that for greater state control, it is in favor of sacrificing personal liberties. China is trying to make the most out of this whole situation. It all started in China, and I'm not blaming China, but so far what we know, one thing is clear, that China is trying to hide something, right? It is hiding something. It's not being that clear. And when you are asking questions about this early outbreak of this coronavirus in Wuhan, and investigation, like Australia demanded this thing, that there should be a thorough investigation. And China is not happy with this stand of Australia. I mean, China is threatening Australia now. So this sort of attitude indicates that they're trying to hide something from the world. But at present, China is trying to make the most out of it, because many parts of China are out of lockdown. So they have started their manufacturing. So what they are doing is they are providing various different items to different parts of the world. So they are basically taking over, our market or other countries' market share. Chinese manufacturers, they are taking over this thing. They are producing PPEs and medicines and other things, and they are providing these things to different parts of the world. So they are trying to change their image from black swan to white swan. They are trying to project themselves as a very, you can say, a very responsible country. Then we have this issue of China's opportunistic takeover. They have the money, and it's not after coronavirus. They have money for a very long period of time. Now, there are, this is something very common, that if you have money and if you see an opportunity, if real estate sector in England is going down and if you have extra cash or money, then of course you can invest money over there and you can purchase some houses, and when the market goes up, you will sell it, which is quite logical. If you're doing it if you're an individual or a business doing it, that's fine. But the problem with China is that it's very difficult to distinguish whether a company that looks like a private company, but there are so many companies, they look private companies, but they have their roots back in governments, right? Security point of view as well, means their security system, they have some companies, they are running like a front companies. So in the front, it looks like it's a private company, but they are actually government companies. So this sort of opportunistic takeover, controlling big companies in different parts of the world. So this is again a strategy, and this will be visible in RCEP, Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership. You have total 15 countries here. Right, you have 10 ASEAN countries, and then you have 5 other countries. China is one of them. So can you give me the name of rest 4 countries who are part of this RCEP, apart from China and ASEAN? Stick your answers in the comment section. You can post your answers right now if you know, right? For this, I don't think so you need to do it that much of research, because we have covered this topic earlier on as well. So it's going to be dominant in RCEP with the Belt and Road Initiative as well. It's going to be dominant in various different parts of the world. USA is going to be weak in future. Once USA will come out of this whole coronavirus episode, it's going to be a weak country. Not that weak, but I think it's not going to be at its peak. So far it was, we can say that at its peak, but now it will see a bit of fall. That's what everyone is saying. Australia, Germany, they have also made some laws that will restrict this opportunistic takeover. India did some changes with our FDI rules. One more thing that we'll find in Europe is that Germany is becoming more detached. Germany is not that much interested in helping Mediterranean European countries. So is Netherlands. Netherlands is also saying that why should we give money? Why should we contribute for other countries? So we can see there is a threat of European solidarity as well. So this is something that is new. As far as West Asia is concerned, Saudi Arabia and Iran, they are going to face difficulties because of drop in oil price. Drop in oil price is good news for India from oil purchase point of view, but from remittance point of view, it's a negative news. Can you give me the right figure? 2019, India received how much in remittance? Stick your answer in the comment section. This is your third question. I think that is more than enough now. So no more questions. So it's going to be bad from remittance point of view. If we see for India, purchasing oil, good thing. Remittance, not good. If Saudi Arabia and Iran and other countries are going down. Israel is going to be a victorious nation over here, because generally speaking, Israel is self-reliant. So countries like Israel, they are going to benefit most out of it. As far as India is concerned, World Bank and other institutions, they have said that our growth is going to be in positive. Only India and China will see a positive growth. India's growth is projected to be somewhere around 1.8%, which is not bad compared to negative growth of various different countries. But things are, of course, this is positive, but not that great number. So our flexibility will see a sort of, it will hamper our flexibility, and China may, make the most out of this inflexibility, or this, we will have less room to maneuver. So China may make the most out of it. China may support some South Asian countries and, impress them and take them on their side. So these are a few challenges and things that we will see after this pandemic episode. Continuing the same thing, like we have talked about a very important topic here. Now we'll talk about some other viewpoints, like here, former Foreign Secretary, she is saying that yes, we all know that the world we once knew has gone, perhaps forever. What has not changed, though, as per her opinion, is the human nature itself. So when she is saying that human nature will be as it was, then there are many questions. There are many angles through which we can look at this point. Like, is it going to be more humane? Are we going to help each other more, or are we going to chase those economical goals that we used to chase earlier on? So either we are going to be on more qualitative side of life or quantitative side, only time can tell. What we do not know is much greater than what we do know about ourselves and the world we live. And this is a very interesting statement, that what we do know is much less. There are so many things that we don't know about, and we have to accept this thing. As far as India is concerned, how we will come out with it, how we will come out from this, how we will deal this whole thing, this coronavirus episode, will define our future. What the actions that we will take today will define our future. Like the quality of leadership, quality of administration at all levels, central level, state level, district level, village level, the robustness of institutional framework, quality of healthcare, our social coherence as a people. All these things will define our success or failure rate. And she has also talked about these two Indias that we have. One is India, that is modern India, and then we have Bharat, that is more backward, or I would say more rural. When I say rural is not bad, but it's not a bad word, right? But rural means not developed, right? So normally we find many writers, they say India. When they say India, means not all the time, but when they say India and Bharat, so Bharat is still least developed or developing part of our country, and India is more developed part of our country. So we have this fault lines. We have this caste fault lines, class fault lines, creed fault lines, economical fault lines. And I think now we are in a right phase that we need to get rid of all this. We need to have a more balance. We have this imbalance when it comes to caste as well. We have imbalance when it comes to class. We have imbalance when we have this paradox. You find the wealthiest people on the planet in our country, you find the poorest, most educated, and those who are totally illiterate. You find this paradox. We need to balance it out. COVID-19 epidemic has mercilessly highlighted our shortcomings and our failures. This paradox is our failure. We have taken it as a culture. We culture in the sense we have accepted it somewhere down the line. But now we have to get rid of this paradox. And as far as world is concerned, our global place is concerned, it will all depend on whether we are presenting a problem or a solution for global. Is India going to be a problem or a solution? So that will define our success and global place. Are we coming out as a stronger country or weaker country? If we are coming out as a stronger country, then of course our weight will increase as far as global politics as well as global whole this global community and international relations are concerned. Moving on to virtual yet open. This is going to be just a small break from this common topic, right? So virtual yet open, this one is easy to understand. Editorial, this one is talking about the Supreme Court, and there are a few other courts. They are working virtually at present, means online. And I can clearly see there are a few positive points as far as online or virtual courts are concerned, right? It will save our time, it will save our energy, human energy, as well as physical other energies. It will reduce cost, it will increase the speed of delivery of things, it will avoid repetition of things, right? You can record, I've already said that you can record statement of witnesses, and then you can use it for sessions court, you can use it for high courts, you can use it for Supreme Court proceedings as well. So you don't have to repeat the same thing again and again. So there are so many benefits. As far as negative things are concerned, there are two things that I would like to share. There can be a big list as well, but I think we have more positives, and we can start this thing and gradually we can get rid of negatives. That's how you have to start any new thing, right? You will have both positive and negatives, but if you have more positives, start it and then try to reduce negatives. Negatives, security is the biggest thing, right? Particularly cybersecurity. We need to have a robust cybersecurity. So this is a thing, we are not that great in it, so we need to sort this thing out. And the second thing is many a times a judge has to see the person, right? That alleged criminal, he or she has to see that person. So that is something that we will miss. But you can always, if a judge is not happy with something, if he or she thinks that he or she needs to see that person physically, then can always ask, and that person can be presented in front of court, a physical court. So yes, this is something also not that impossible. Chief Justice of India S.A. Bobde emphasizes that virtual courts are open courts too, right? They are open court indeed, because you can see them live. Proceedings can be seen live now. Supreme Court Bar Association is saying that we need to, as soon as possible, we need to have the normal courts rather than doing everything online. But I think we need to have a proper discussion. A few days ago as well, we talked about this thing, that we need to have all those experts from various different fields, and they need to come on board, and they need to decide. They need to find out ways through which we can promote this digital courts. And if we can do this thing, this will be a big game changer in our country. It will impact our society. Now, a policy roadmap to tackle COVID-19. This article, the writer is talking about three things. The first one is the three priorities. For example, the first one is we need to minimize the loss of life. Of course, very logical, very important. Second thing is, as quickly as possible, as smoothly as possible, we need to roll out our normal economic as well as social life, of course. And the third one is this glide path. End this whole coronavirus thing once and for all. Till then, we have to follow lockdowns. Till then, we have to not complete lockdown, then maybe partial lockdown. Mass testing should continue. Contact tracing and quarantining, this should continue as well. Widespread testing and contact tracing is a very important thing. Unfortunately, advanced countries as well, they have not conducted mass scale testing. They have done it compared to India and other countries, but clearly, that's not enough. 20,000 per day, it's not going to be enough. You need to have more. So for that, we need to, till we find a proper vaccine or a medicine for this thing, for a cure for this coronavirus, something that can protect us, or something that will save us after we have been infected with this disease. Till then, we have to keep on doing all these things. One more thing, we have to change our attitude. If you are doing more tests, right, if you are quarantining people, if you are if you are producing more PPEs, and these are used by your hospital staff, you are basically, you're spending everything, your expenditure. You should not see it as expenditure, you should see it as an investment. The return that we will get is a healthy society. So far we are so trained that we expect something in physical return. If we invest 100 rupees, then we expect that we will get 10 rupees out of it. But this time, when you are investing, when you are trying to produce vaccine, it will cost you. So that thing, if you are producing PPEs and they are used, then as well it will cost you. If you are doing testing and quarantining people and providing free food and other things, it will cost you. But in return, you get a healthy society, and that is a big return. Private firms are also being encouraged to contribute, and we should understand that once they get a breakthrough, this medicine and everything should be available free for everyone, for the whole world. And we can have contribution from various different NGOs and other places, so that we can, this private companies as well, they don't make laws. Government should provide them funds, but people can contribute, right? And financial compensation or providing support to vulnerable section is again one of the most important things. This article is also saying that schools must reopen in order that parents can work, and that is important as well. Moving on to news items, dear friends, Modi hints at graded exit from lockdown, says danger not over, and this is a very logical thing. We have to be constant vigilance is going to be a new normal. The reason why we cannot open our lockdown for pan India is because in Maharashtra and Gujarat numbers are going up. In Kerala, it's quite opposite. The numbers are Kerala, Haryana, then you have this Ladakh, Goa, these places, numbers are going down. So we have this here as well, two extremes are here. So in this case, and then we have two moderate cases. So we cannot open our whole nation. We have to go step by step. ICMR says that no payment made to Chinese test kit suppliers, right? So there was one allegation about corruption and things, but ICMR has clearly said that we have not spent even a single rupee. RBI opens 50,000 crore liquidity tap for mutual funds. Center pitches for home isolation for mild cases. Essential goods movement up has been said by government. Things are moving a bit slowly, but it's going in good direction. Meghalaya seeks national lockdown beyond 3rd May. It has came out with this idea of rapid response system, where at micro level, at your grassroots level, at your panchayat level, you will have a proper team And if there are any cases, then they will respond. Everything will be sorted out within 60 minutes or something. So this is something that has been suggested by Meghalaya, and Prime Minister Modi has also supported this idea. As far as military or this spending is concerned, as per the SIPRI report, India is at number 3. Figures are given here. Help yourself with it. Where is Kim Jeonghoon? We don't know, right? No one knows about it. When I say no one, I mean to say that the outer world is not knowing about this thing. I was talking about this thing that China has threatened, Australia, that it will boycott tourism and other things and goods from Australia if Australia will allege or if will promote any sort of idea of investigation. And Pakistan cleric slammed ladies, right? He is blaming women for the spread of coronavirus, and I will leave it on you guys to decide what sort of mindset he is having. And that's everything in today's discussion. Thank you very much for watching this video. God bless you all. Jai Hind.